DreAllDay.com.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day, to do the work, confidence, to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is what AI will never replace. Now, before we get into this, I remind you all two things. First of all, my daily motivation and Monday motivation messages guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your day, your week, respectively. All you got to do to receive these is be part of my texting community. It is free to join. Text me at my number, 305-384-6894. Once we start sending that message out again, you'll be getting it straight to your phone. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. All right, this is the place where you take your next step. This is where you go to the next level in your development, in your journey, and in your growth. I'm looking for the ambitious. We're looking for the top 2%, people who are serious about taking your game to its highest possible level. If you're already at a really high level, but you want to stay there, and or you want to go further, most of the people I know who are at a high level want to go further. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. You can learn more about what we're doing, who we're doing it with, how we do it, and how you can take your next step to get started. Again, that's workonyourgameuniversity.com. With that out of the way, let's get into the topic here today, which is what AI will never replace. Now, as I've talked about a lot regarding the possibilities and the current applications of AI, I will be remiss to not tell you the things that AI actually cannot do and will not ever be able to do. And you should understand the difference between things you should be using AI for, which are going to save you time, energy, money, and even make you money if you learn to use them the right way, and the things that AI can't do and are not going to be able to do, which means they still can be done. They're just not going to be done by AI, because these things I'm going to mention here today are very connected to literal human abilities, and they cannot be artificially replicated. All right, so technology will not be able to replace these things that are very human based. I'm going to tell you what they are. And these are skills that you should probably really get good at, because, again, there will never be technology that can do this in your stead. Point number one. Topic, once again, is what AI will never replace. Number one, the human touch that is required for social interaction. All right, this cannot be replicated by artificial intelligence. There is a human touch that comes with engagement between people that you cannot replace with AI. Now, in some ways you can, but in many ways you can't. So, for example, if you log on to your credit card or bank account app on your phone and you go to the support section, it's very likely you're going to initially encounter some form of artificial intelligence before you get to talk to an actual human in the chat. Many apps have done this. There are a couple companies that have not resorted to this. They still send you straight to a human. For example, I'm an American Express card holder. American Express, if I go to the chat, usually I go straight to talking to a person. But other apps, let's take a company like Bank of America, Cash App. I was chatting with them today. Who's another company that I've chatted with? Apple even. They usually send you to some type of AI first. It's usually very quickly. And this is a process of sorting. They're just trying to sort and figure out who they should send you to. And then they get you to a human being. But the social interaction that human beings have with each other, you don't want to replace that with AI. In other words, if you want to go on a date, for example, you don't want to go on a date with an AI person. You don't want to be talking to an AI person who you met in Instagram, and you're texting, and it's an AI that you're talking to, is not an actual human. Now, I will guess, one thing I will tell you is that in the future, people are going to learn how to use these things in such ways that people are going to be having full-on relationships with a person who's not even real. That actually is going to happen. I know that's going to happen. I've actually read about how there are Instagram accounts these days, and probably TikTok as well, but Instagram accounts of women who are not actually people, but they get a whole bunch of pictures of them, the person, of the same person, just in different places doing different things, and then someone writes the captions, and that becomes a person, and they go and create an account, and they have this whole life on the internet as an account, and people don't even know that it's an AI person. And of course, they can be getting DMs, they can be having text conversations, as long as there doesn't need to be a FaceTime call or a meet in person. There can be a full-on, I guess, textual relationship going on between this person and somebody else who doesn't even know that it's AI that they're talking to. That is probably already happening, and more of it is going to be happening. That one, I will tell you, that will occur. But that's what people not knowing. Now, if you knew that who you were talking to was AI, then you probably wouldn't feel the same. So what I'm saying is, social interaction that human beings need, we are wired for social interaction. this cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. Okay. On certain levels, certain people will never accept dealing with artificial intelligence to talk to a human person. To get to a human, they don't want to deal with artificial intelligence first. They want to just talk to human beings all the time. How many of you, even back in the days, this is like even before social media, let's say 20 years ago, those of you old enough, remember getting on the phone, calling some company, and the automated, voice activated system came on, and the first thing you said was speak to a representative. You just kept saying it till they put a person on the phone. Right? How many of you have done that? We've all done it. I still do it to this day. Or you just kept pressing 0 until they put a person on the phone, because we don't want to deal with the artificial person. We want to deal with an actual human. And this is not going away. Now, more and more things are going to be replacing humans, to where in places where maybe you will realize, okay, I didn't need a human for that. Like, for example, McDonald's. I haven't eaten at McDonald's in a long time, but I was in a McDonald's I was in Europe a couple of years ago, and I went inside the McDonald's just to see what the McDonald's in Europe was like. And it was a big board where you could order your food at. There was a couple registers with humans on them, but then it was a board that basically took the orders. Instead of you talking to a person, you just punched in your order, and that's how you got your food. And they do that here in America and a lot of places too. So that's one place where we don't need humans. You go to Whole Foods, there's maybe 3 lines with humans at the checkout counter, and then there's like 20 self-checkouts. They do the same thing at Walmart, or so I've heard. I was at a Walmart. Actually, I was at a Walmart a couple months ago because I was in a town that didn't have a Whole Foods. But the whole point is, there are some aspects of life where we don't want our AI. We want a human. If you go get a massage, all right, you want a human. You get your nails done, and maybe you'd be okay with AI doing it, and AI might be better than a human. But a lot of these things, if you go into any type of luxury business, let's say you want to go to a high-end clothing store like Gucci, or you want to go to a luxury automobile dealer. We mentioned Bugatti a couple of days ago, or a high-end restaurant. It will never be acceptable to have artificial intelligence servicing the customers and the clients, even though it could probably be very consistent, it can be very efficient, and it will be very cost effective for the business. They're not going to do it because it actually won't be cost effective, because your customers are going to not like it, and they're going to say, no, I want to talk to a person. Don't send a robot over here. Don't have me typing into an iPad to place my order. This is a high-end restaurant. I want to talk to an actual person. And that is not going to go away. Again, that's not going to go away for a certain percentage of the population. So it is okay for artificial intelligence to replace, again, things that we are okay with being replaced. Checkout lines at Target, McDonald's, but not at the Louis Vuitton store or a Mercedes-Benz dealership. I want to shake hands with a person and talk to a live individual, not AI. At the highest level, folks, people will always demand human touch. And there are certain aspects of life in which human touch is just necessary. So if you're playing sports, for example, basketball, the referee is usually probably always going to be a human, because humans are able to do things and infer and make decisions that AI probably is not going to catch up to, and it will never have the human touch. That I don't think AI is ever going to be able to copy the human touch. And the reason why I won't be able to is because we'll know when we're talking to a person, when we're not talking to a person. You can't have human touch if you're not human. All right, it just can't happen. I don't care how realistic a robot is. There's no human touch to something that's not human. All right, it can't happen. So I'm also referring to this when it comes to simple interactions between humans on a daily basis, regardless of the business aspect of it, even if there is no business aspect. We noticed this during the COVID scamdemic. And yes, I said scamdemic. People tend to go crazy when we are unable to communicate in real life with real people. All right, doesn't that happen? Didn't that happen during COVID? Did some of you have that happen? You kind of went stir crazy because you were locked up in the house and you didn't really have any real life engagement with real people. I'm talking about in person, not FaceTime, not Zoom. You need to actually be around actual human beings. People go crazy when they're not around human beings, because you lose your sense of reality gets distorted when you're not around other human beings, because you don't have a way of measuring if what you're doing, saying, and how you're behaving, how is it measuring against other humans? If you're not talking to any, you don't know. So your ability to just have a conversation with other people cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. And you have to, again, when you deal with some automated system before you get to a human, or completely in place of humans, you get annoyed by it. We don't like to have to do that all the time. We want to just go, let me just talk to a person. I don't want to talk to a computer. Let me talk to a person. Point number 2, today's topic, once again, things that AI are never going to replace. Number 2, your personal story and your personal style. I talked about this a bit in yesterday's masterclass when I told you that you can use AI to get you some drafts and some ideations, but it can't do the whole thing for you, because it cannot put your personal style and your personal story into what it does for you. As I said before, AI will eventually advance to the point where it can, quote unquote, read your story and know your story and integrate it into the material that it creates for you. So, for example, if you've written a book, like a biography, I could take my book, Buy a Game, which is the only book of mine that's complete narrative. I could take my book, Work on Your Game, which has narrative in it, but it's not a narrative book. And I could feed those into some AI software. It will read the book. It will download all of my background information, and it can use that to spice it into material that it writes for me. That might already be available. I just don't, maybe I don't know about it. And it's coming. If it's not here already, that's absolutely coming. As a matter of fact, I'm going to check and see if it can do it today. I'm going to check right now, actually, because just in yesterday's episode, I was asking ChatGPT this question. So I'm going to ask ChatGPT right now if it can do this. Can you read my book and then use stories about me and content that you write for me in the future? Okay, so I'm asking ChatGPT that question. So it says, ChatGPT's answer is, I cannot directly read or access books, but if you share specific stories or excerpts from your book, I can definitely use them to craft content for you. Feel free to provide any sections or details you want highlighted, and I'll incorporate them into future content for you. Okay, so in other words, it can't do it yet. But I guarantee you there's a time is coming when you can just go to AI, you can upload a file of your book or your story, or maybe it's just a video of you telling your story. AI will read or watch it, quote unquote, and it will now have downloaded your story, and they can now use that in anything it creates for you in the future, referencing your own stories and your own examples from your mouth or from your pen that you already shared. I guarantee you that's coming. That I would say within the next, I'm recording this in 2024. I say I'm being conservative here. I'm not a big tech person. I'll say by 2030, definitely. It's probably going to be faster than that. I'm being very, what's the word? I'm giving a humble projection, but it's probably less than 2 years away that it can do something like that, because it shouldn't be that difficult. It just takes a lot of computing power for it to read and process an entire book. That takes a little bit more computing power than just coming up with random ideas out of nowhere. So your personal story, your personal style. AI will get to the point where we can do a lot of this stuff on your behalf, but right now it's not there. And again, the human touch that goes into you sharing your own thing, AI can't do that, and it will never be able to do that. Human beings are still human, and sometimes we want to hear from a human rather than hearing from a system, a computer, a chip, or an algorithm. This is where your personal touch comes into play. And again, technology can't do this. So remember that I told you for a long time that communication skills are a force multiplier, and I told you that they're a future-proof ability, meaning one, that the better you are at communicating, the more effective everything else is, and two, communication skills will never go away. They will always be valuable. Okay, that has not been canceled out by AI, and it never will be. So no matter what changes technologically, people will always be people. We are always wired to deal with other people, and we will always appreciate engaging with people. So never, ever get fooled into believing you can stop developing your people skills just because there is access to technology. Don't let technology replace what you do as a person. Let it enhance what you do as a person. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is things that AI will never, ever, ever be able to do. Number 3, AI will never be able to replace human intelligence. All right, it's called artificial intelligence for a reason, because it's artificial. Human intelligence is still above artificial intelligence. Now, artificial has its pros, has some things it can do faster and more effectively than human intelligence can, but there are certain things that artificial intelligence will never be able to do because it is literally artificial. It is not human, and it's artificially human. So there are certain things that you can't get from the replica that you could get from the real thing. All right, this is just what it is. Human intelligence is not going away. All right, your ability to infer, your ability to create insights, your ability to communicate things in real time and in real life with real people cannot be replicated by AI. Now, AI can't do that. So these things are always going to matter. And especially at the highest levels of humanity, when you're dealing with high level performers want to deal with human beings because there's a human touch, again, to communication that you can't do artificially. When you're dealing with high level performers, high paying clients, high paying customers, people who simply want what they want, it will not be acceptable to have human touch replaced with a computer, an algorithm, or a system. Some people just want to deal with a person, and they demand to deal with a person, and they're willing to pay to deal with a person if it costs money. These are the people like myself, I like working with the people like this. Not everybody does, but there are people like this that exist. There will always be people like this that exist, and therefore there will always be a demand for human engagement over technology, no matter how easy, quote unquote, technology becomes. People want people. I would suggest then, for all of you, that you elevate your work to working with high-level individuals and make sure you are one of those high-level individuals yourself. Because high-level people like to surround themselves with people who are like them. So if people don't see you as high-level, then you're not going to be attracting any high-level folks. So make sure you are what you're asking for. Because where human beings are being replaced by technology, it always starts at the lower echelons of society. Notice the places where human beings are being replaced by technology. All right, checkout counters at grocery stores. Those are entry-level jobs. That's where it starts. All the ways that technology is replacing humans starts with the entry-level stuff. There's a company called Waymo. Some of you may know about Waymo. They're not available in Miami yet, but I'm interested. When they do become available here, I'm going to try them out. Waymo is a self-driving car that's like Uber, but there's no human in the car. It's a computer that's basically driving the car. You get in the back seat, and the computer just drives the car, and it drives you around. There's no human in it. In LA, this is actually happening right now. There are people actively using Waymo out in Los Angeles and a couple other cities. Let me see, because I had the app on my phone, and it was showing what cities it was in. So let me see. So the app is called Waymo One, and as of now, it is in the Bay Area, California Bay Area. So probably starting in San Francisco. It's probably a Silicon Valley company, and it's in Los Angeles. It is available in, looks like this is Phoenix, Arizona, and then Austin, Texas. So they're operating 24/7 in San Francisco and Phoenix, and it says LA and Austin are coming soon. So I don't know what that means, because I heard people talking about using this in LA. So maybe it's just not 24 hours a day yet. So yeah, San Francisco area, it's heavy. In Phoenix, it is heavy. In Los Angeles, it says it's coming to Los Angeles, but I heard someone saying that they're in Los Angeles and using it right now. So anyway, they've expanded the LA service area. They've added 16 square miles to the LA area. Playa Vista, Chinatown, parts of Chinatown, and more of Westlake, as they say. San Francisco, again, active. So I'm looking forward to them coming to Miami. I will try them. And again, it's a self-driving car. So the prices of each ride are a little bit less than the prices of Uber, because they don't have to deal with the humans. But why am I bringing this up? Because who are they replacing? They're replacing Uber drivers, Uber and Lyft drivers. Uber and Lyft drivers, that's generally an entry-level job. No disrespect to the Uber and Lyft drivers. It's an entry-level job. As long as you know how to drive a car, you can do it. All right, you don't have to have any specialized skill. All right, do you know how to drive a car? Yes. You got a license? Yes. You got a car? Yes. Okay, you can drive Uber. Technology starts by replacing the lowest level people first, and it replaces the highest level people last, if at all. This is just how it works. So if you want to stay ahead of AI replacing you in what you do, I would suggest you start offering things at a really high level, because it will come for you last, if it can come for you at all. So elevate your work to where you are a high level individual. You won't get replaced. It starts always where the people are most fungible and most easily replaceable by technology. At the highest levels, you are not replaceable. That's why you're high level. So make sure you live in that zip code. That said, let's recap today's class, which is what AI will never, ever replace. Again, I've talked about all the things AI can do. Today, I'm telling you what AI can't and won't do. Number one, the human touch that is required for social interaction. People like dealing with people. Just all human beings need to deal with a human being. Even though you could probably, if you're a stay-at-home mom, for example, it'd be great if you had an AI robot that could put the kids to sleep and feed them lunch and clean up the bathroom and do the laundry, instead of you having to do all that stuff yourself. There are some of those things that maybe AI will be able to do, but the things that require actual human engagement, you probably don't want AI doing that. You got to do that, and humans will not be replaced in that sense. Number two, your personal story and your personal style, your personal touch, your je ne sais quoi, the way that you do things, the thing about you, that cannot be replaced by technology, cannot be replaced by artificial intelligence. And the more unique yours is, the more it matters that it can't be replaced. And number three, human intelligence. Our AI is called artificial intelligence for a reason, because it's artificial. All right, human intelligence is the real thing, and you need to figure out what parts of your human intelligence cannot be replaced by technology and overemphasize them, because those are the things that will make you continue to be valuable as AI continues to encroach on jobs and opportunities of humans out there. Again, it starts at the bottom and then it slowly moves up. It never gets to the people at the upper crust of society. So make sure you are at the upper crust so that you are not a threat or in danger by the threat of AI. Speaking of being in the upper crust, speaking of top level performers, I'm looking for people who want to get there if you're not there right now, and people who are there and want to stay there and want to go even further and go even higher through the Work on Your Game philosophy based around mindset, strategy, systems, and accountability. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre, all